So I've been shooting sports and football for about 3 years now, and a lot of things have changed in my camera setup, but a lot of stuff has also stayed the same over the 3 years. Really the next things I would need to do is just upgrade a few things, but what I have right here is pretty perfect. So the first thing I have here is my Sony A7III. Now, again, this camera is a great camera. This would probably be the next thing I would upgrade if I was to upgrade anything, just simply because of the video capabilities. They're still very good, but I would love something 4K, maybe 60 or 120 FPS, 10-bit color, all that stuff. So this is a great camera. So the base of my setup is the A7 III. All right, so we have the A7 III. The other thing I use on my A7 III is this small rig cage. Everything will be in the description below. Where you can find all this stuff. So this is the cage. Before I take this off, I am going to take this little plate off right here. If you see me looking up, my camera's right up here, but taking this plate off right here, this just makes it easier to hook my dummy battery into here, and it just gets out of the way. So you're going to take that off, and then I am going to put this onto my cage. Now, a very helpful tool that you can use is this small rig multi-tool right here. Now, this flathead is literally one of the most useful things on here. I use it for about everything. So I like making sure my cage is nice and tight on here. So as you see, this is the A7 III with the cage. Again, this just gives it more mounting options for when I mount more stuff on here. So next we're going to talk about powering my camera. Now, I power my camera with a Vmount battery. If you don't know what this is, it's basically a big battery that has a lot of ports where you can charge a bunch of stuff on it. Now I use this battery to power both my camera and my monitor, so it makes it a lot easier not having to switch out batteries, worry about batteries dying on you. This thing is beefy. The way I attach this V-mount, also this is from Newer. It's just a little cheaper than the small rig version, but it's literally the same thing. The way I attach this is using this Newer mount. Now you can really use any mount, but I really like this mount because as you see, it can fold. It's also adjustable with how far it can go back. So if you just pop this little lever, you can slide this in and out, just adjusting it even further. So I really like this. Now the way you mount that, you're gonna mount this plate on the bottom of your camera. Now, this is using a screw, as you see. So I'm gonna find that exact one on here. As you see, this is the right one. So I'm just gonna place this on my cage, and we are gonna start screwing it on. All right, so once that's pretty much as tight as it can go, you're gonna slide your V-mount mount on there. So all you do is just slide it, and then once it clicks and once you find the right spot, I like laying it on the ground like this and just making sure it's not unequal on each side. It's pretty good. You're gonna tighten this lever, boom. It's attached on there. Now I have a spot to mount my V-mount onto my camera. All right, so let's talk about my top handle. I use I don't know exactly what model this is, but again, it's small rig. So this mounts right onto the top of my cage. As you see, it's like that bigger hole. I'm just zooming this in so you can see it a little better. Yeah, I like mounting this right on this hole where that's exactly where it mounts. But I usually do hand tight screwing that I just kind of crank it with. So I put it in one of these holes and then I just crank it a little further so that it's very tight. As you see, my top handle is used for both like mobility, like carrying it around, getting lower shots, but it's also to mount my monitor. Now the monitor mount I use, again, small rig monitor mount. So this mounts, I like mounting it right on the front of my camera. Again, this is a 3/8 spot. So I like mounting it down. So as you see, with it pointing down, just because it gets a little bit lower. One of the things I didn't like about my last setup was my monitor was literally on this top hot shoe and it was literally like sticking straight up. So it made my camera look very tall and it just looked a little goofy to me. So again, this is hand tight, and then you can also see there is a screw in there, if it focuses. Again, this tool literally has all the options, and then I'm just gonna tighten this a little bit just to make sure the monitor isn't sliding around or anything. So boom, that's on pretty tight. So now we have the main attachments on. Now we're gonna start adding in batteries, our monitor, our microphone, our lens, all that stuff. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and attach my lens. Now I use a few lenses for football, but this is the main lens I use. This was definitely one of those purchases that I didn't regret buying at all. It was pretty expensive, but you will literally use it all the time. Now, one thing I love about Sigma is this lens is all black, so it literally matches the camera so well because it's just all black and it looks so clean. All right, so now this thing is starting to look like a beast. All right, next, let's put on the monitor. So now this monitor I got, this was actually an upgrade from the PT5, I think 2 from Portkeys. This is the PT6, so literally one level up. It's a little bigger than the PT5 too. It also has a lot more features, which I absolutely love. When I got this and I opened it and tested it, I literally fell in love with it instantly. So this monitor will come right to the front, and I'll just screw it in right here. Oh, I was just screwing it the wrong way that whole time. Just to make it a little tighter so it does not move anywhere when I am videoing. Boom, that's pretty good. All right, so we got our monitor on here. I love the monitor just because it's a bigger screen. It's easier to see during the daytime. And as you see, the V-mount is gonna cover the screen a little bit. So it's kind of hard to see the screen. So I like having it all on my monitor. All right, so let's connect our V-mount to this now. So all this does is just slides in right here and boom. Now I keep this extended for the most part, just to route some cables. And then at the end, I'll push it in a little bit right to where I can still hold it and it's not blocking my hand. All right, the next thing we'll add is my microphone. This is the Rode, I don't exactly know which mic this is. I believe it's like the Mini Go or something like that. This is a shotgun mic. This has been very good just for what I've needed it for. I haven't done any crazy like audio work, like interviews and stuff where I need a very, very like crazy XLR mic. This thing is perfectly, it works perfectly. I've used this for every single project. Picks up game audio really well, picks up voices, so very good for what I need it for. Now I usually would connect the cable to this, but I'm actually using it with my audio setup right now, so that's just why there is no cable here. I put it on the left side of my camera just simply because my hand's gonna be here, so I don't want that getting in the way. All right, next big thing is how we actually power the camera. So this is called a dummy battery. Now you plug this into your camera. It's not an actual battery, you don't charge it. It is just to basically take the current from the V-mount and put it into your camera. Now I'm gonna flip this over on its side. All right, so we're gonna be looking at the bottom now. So all you're gonna do is just plug your dummy battery just like it's a normal battery. And then you're going to run the D-tap cable into your V-mount. So mine is right on this side, so plug it in right there. Now you're ended up with a bunch of cable. Usually what I'll do is I'll just kind of route it around my camera, just making sure it's not getting in the way of anything and just making everything easier. This also makes it look a little more complete. It's not like that gap. So again, it looks pretty cool. It's not all about looking cool, but when your rig looks cool, it's definitely fun. All right, so continuing the boring stuff with the cables, I also power my monitor with my V-mount battery. So the way I do this is with a DC cable. This is a DC to DC. So on the top of my V-mount, I have 2 DC connections. So I plug the straight one. So my main goal is to make sure I'm not tugging on anything. I'm not stressing out my cables or any connections or anything. I want it to just be nice and clean to where I don't have to really touch it much. So I think this is pretty good. So I have it kind of routed through my cage. It's probably hard to kind of see. The harder it is to see, that's pretty good. So as long as it's not in the way of my hand, when I go to zoom, it's not in the way, that's perfect. All right, so boom, we basically have power to my monitor, power to my camera, and we could literally turn my camera on right now. So we're gonna turn on the camera and we're also gonna turn on the monitor. All right, so one of the last things to do is to make sure you can see your camera on the monitor. So the way you do this is through an HDMI cable. The A7 III has a micro HDMI cable that looks like this right here into an HDMI cable. Now I use a right angle because I've literally gone through 3 of these micro HDMI cables because they bend so easily. So we're gonna turn this around so you guys can see. We're gonna flip it on its side actually. We're going to plug this in right here. It is a right angle, so it's very nice. It goes right down my camera. And the connection is actually right up here on my monitor. Now, I am thinking about finding a different cable for this just because I wanna get rid of as much of this extra cable as I can, like right here. So if I was to pick it up right now and kind of place my hand here, as you see, my arm kind of is pushing against it. It's not a huge issue, but it's just a little inconvenient. So I think I'm gonna be upgrading that to a smaller cable soon. You see my monitor right now, I can see whatever is on my camera. All right, so that is it for the rig. Now some things I might add on is an ND filter. So this is very good for video. If you don't know what an ND filter is, it's basically sunglasses. I'll hold it up to this camera actually right here. When I twist it, as you see, it's getting darker and then lighter. So instead of changing your shutter speed around, all that stuff, all you're gonna do is just twist this and you can make your image a lot darker. Just screw it on the front of your lens. Just make sure you have the right size diameter, and boom, ND filter is on. All right, so that is basically it for my rig. This rig is both functional and pretty cool looking, I'd say. One of my favorite things about this rig is the V-mount. Being able to power my camera and my monitor at the same time is a huge upgrade from batteries. So again, if you want any of these items or you want to find them, I'll have all the Amazon links down in the description below. So this is my 2025 football rig. But yeah, this is an absolutely beast of a rig. Does everything I want it to, and yeah, it's awesome. I love it. So check out my Instagram, Walden Digital. I'll have all my behind the scenes and kind of update work on there, final work. But yeah, make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this rig. I hope this inspired your rig, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.